I'm Stan DeFreitas, Mr. Greenthumb, and you are?
And I'm James DeFreitas, and every week we're talking about gardening and or real estate. And this week we are happy to, of course, we're always talking about this. I just want to re-mention again that we do have a silent auction that's going to go off. What's a silent auction? Well, a silent auction is just like a regular auction, except there's no auctioneer present, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to fill out bidder registration paperwork, which is just basically comprises of who you are, where you currently live, how much you want to pay for the thing. So it's not a huge deal. But again, it's located at 1900 59th Avenue North, Unit 216, St. Petersburg, Florida 33714. And again, you can find this bidder registration form right on our website at floridaauctionteam.com. That's Florida spelled all out. So it's floridaauctionteam.com. You can click on the link Upcoming Auctions, and it'll take you right there. You'll see the bidder registration form. You'll see the pro forma title policy, excuse me. And what's a pro forma title policy?
I was going to say, a lot of people would ask that question.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and ask you that question. Why do we do this?
We want to know that there is a clean title, and I've known agents, one agent in particular, who I'm not going to mention her name, but she said, look, I've been in the business for 35 years, and, I can sell you this property. No, the title isn't necessarily clean.
That's a great imitation, by the way, too.
I said, well, it's either clean or it's not clean, and either you've been doing it right, or maybe you've been doing it wrong each year for 35 years. You don't sell a property that doesn't have a clear title. It's one of the rules that we live by Freck. And, it's something that she should have learned 35 years ago, is that you make sure that you're selling a clean title. And you don't want to, the IRS lien, she goes, well, it's going to fall off. Well, maybe, but I doubt it. Usually the IRS and the other folks make sure that their hands out. And if you want to have that property, you better make sure that those liens are paid. Somebody's going to pay them. And I know a lot of folks go, well, I'll go to the courthouse steps and I'll pay the $8,000 that, let's say, they owe in back taxes. Well, that's one part of what you're getting.
Absolutely.
Let's say there's 3 other liens on that property from contractors and they've kept their liens up. You have to make sure they're settled as well. And so a lot of folks think, well, I'm buying the property for $8,000. Now, you may get a good deal. I'm not saying, there are a whole group of folks that are out there always looking for that super good deal. Most of the time in life, you got to pay for what something's worth. And just because you want to find the good deal, there's a million other guys out there looking for the good deal, too. We get that a lot in the auction division.
Sure. And so one of the reasons that we do this pro forma title policy, it's so that if you're a bidder, you know in advance that you're bidding on something that will transfer with clean title. And it's a way to protect you in advance to let you know, hey, I'm not selling something that's dubious. I'm selling something that's clean and has transferable title. And so that's an important aspect that people need to be aware of. And so what do? We're upfront about it, and we just go ahead and post it right online for anybody that wants to go look at that property, because technically this stuff is public record if you want to go looking for it. So we just go ahead and do that. So the property, again, is located at 1900 59th Avenue North, Unit 216, St. Petersburg, Florida 33714. Of course, if you have trouble and you need more help, you can certainly call me, James DeFreitas, at 727-254-7127. That's 727-254-7127. Or you can always call Stan as well, 727-423-4794, and he will be happy to explain to you a little bit more about our process, how it works, and the fun that can be had in a silent auction.
Or as you say, I'm sort of the communications director, so I'll probably be the one calling you back if you have a question. If it's you have a question about plants or trees, I'll probably answer those for you as well. But when you call our number there, I'm also usually thinking of how we can help you with a property. And also we're forming a team for folks who want to. You can call us. We'll put you in touch with Bobby Paolin. And I think I've got his name correct. I hear it pronounced 100 different ways. But he'll be glad to tell you how you can be part of our team, and we'll be there to help.
Yeah, if you're new to the business and you're a new real estate agent and you're looking for some guidance, you don't necessarily have to perform auctions with us in the auction division, but you certainly can work with us. And again, as Stan has indicated in the past, we're happy to mentor. We're happy to take some of the lessons that we've learned over the years and tell you some pitfalls that you might run into and show you the ropes. And so that's a wonderful thing. You know, of course, if you're interested in doing auctions and you wanted to be part of our team, we could discuss that with you too. But again, there's more licensing and more requirements and stuff like that that you'd have to get. And, you know, it's certainly attainable for those that are interested.
We are licensed auctioneers.
Right. We are licensed to do it. So we can also do stuff auctions as well. And we haven't done a whole lot of stuff auctions, but that doesn't necessarily mean we can't do them. So just a slight change. You know, we're still on the real estate topic, but one thought that came to mind, and it's something that a lot of people go through. Okay. And this is the title of the article is it says this is kind of a question and answer section, but I like question and answer sections because a lot of times somebody's already asked a question that, you know, and then we can all get the benefit of learning because somebody else has answered it. It says a co-owner of a house won't sell. What can we do? Well, here's what happens sometimes. Sometimes people wind up buying a property together and they're not married. Well, you know, and attorneys will advise you that in sometimes this situation, it's called a business divorce because you are divorcing, but you're doing so just on business items that you co-own. So let me say this. If you're in a situation where you are cohabitating and you're together, but not necessarily married, if you think a judge is going to care about what happened here or what happened there about your personal life as to why you're parting assets, they will not. They will be interested in looking at how you bought the property, who paid what, those kinds of things, and to assess ownership. But one of the things that happens sometimes when people own property together is that one person would like to sell and the other one would not. So you're in kind of a pickle. Well, and again, let me just state, I am not giving legal advice, but I am telling you what this article had to say, and this article was written by a guy named Gary M. Singer, and what Gary is suggesting in this article is absolutely the truth, as I know it, is that you can ask the courts to partition. You can sue to partition the asset, and in this case, it's a home. And when judges get involved, it becomes very expensive, especially because you now have litigation costs involved too, in addition to court time. So because you guys couldn't get it figured out over a Grand Slam breakfast, you are now having to have the legal system help you in this process, and that becomes expensive. So any equity you had in the home, it might be up for grabs by the attorneys who you didn't know prior, but now are happy to take away your equity. So my advice is hit the Grand Slam breakfast and avoid this.
Or get good legal representation if you have to. Since
if you have to, yeah.
I mean, I work with a lot of attorneys in the field of eminent domain, and if you're looking for some representation there, I've had people call me before, and I will give them a list of 2 or 3 names of people I've worked with. If I don't work with them, you probably need to find another attorney in the field of eminent domain, and I'll help you find that person, because if they don't work with me, then they're probably not up to.
They're not up to the high standards. Well, and that's a good point too. Eminent domain is an entirely different thing than what I was just talking about, but it's you know, it's still part of the legal framework of things that happen in real estate. So that's an interesting point to make. But yeah, I mean, so, you know, and again, at the end of the day, I don't mean to, you know, as we close out our show today, I don't mean to bring up a negative thing, but it does happen where people wind up cohabitating and owning real estate together. And then the next thing you know, you have a differences of opinion, and it can be tricky on how things get handled in the end. And I always recommend to try to mediate the problem out, try to avoid going and having to hire lawyers, because they don't work for free, and they can be very expensive. And it's just, you know, if you don't have that much equity in the property, I'm not sure that's a good idea to be doing that. So, you know, always try to, you know, they always say cooler heads prevail. And I think that is something that people should think about, even when they're going through a traditional divorce. And the same thing with a business divorce, where you have assets together. And I always recommend that. And try to make sure that everybody understands in advance. And one of the things that this article is talking about that almost nobody ever does is having a contract of who owns what prior to purchasing it. That doesn't always happen. It's a little more clear when it's a divorce, because then there's a divorce decree, and that gets explained better that way. But can you believe it? We've done another hour program, and just a wonderful time to be had here on our gardening and real estate show.
Yeah, if you've got gardening questions, you can go to Ask ASK MR and then Green and then Thumb, and you can send me a question, or you can send me a picture.
Sure, and if they want to get you live on a consult, they can always contact you at your number,
which is 727-423-4794. That's 727-423-4794, and I will get back to you. I do answer my calls back. In fact, a lot of people will say, boy, you called me back and within the hour. Well, I normally try to. So that's important.
It absolutely is. We appreciate all of our listeners out there, and please get in touch with us if you need us. We are always here to help you.
Tell all your neighbors and friends to listen every week here on AM 860, The Answer.